being coachable is just as important as being coached or doing the coaching. Hey guys, it's Dan Greer with Forge. I'm coming at you today for your 5-minute power up. And today we're chatting all about why it's so important to be coachable. So the last podcast I gave you about coaching was about actually coaching others and being encouraging and helping others do their and coaching them, not belittling them. And so today I was sitting here and I was thinking about it and I was like, man, we really need to talk a little bit about being coachable, because a lot of us stop being coachable at a certain point in our life. We really do. We go into our life and we're like, oh, we got this, and we do something, and then we get a little arrogant because we do it okay the first time, and we do it again, we get a little more arrogant because we do it a little bit better, then we get really arrogant because we've done it 100 times, really good, and all of a sudden we're just super arrogant, nobody can do it better than us. And so now we're not coachable anymore, and that's a problem. That's a problem. That's what happens with most leaders, is they become uncoachable. They can't learn a new way to do things. They want to do it their way every single time, and if it's not done their way, it's done wrong. And that's wrong. That's just wrong. I'm just telling you, that's just wrong, okay? So what I want to do is I want to encourage you to be coachable. Now let's talk about what being coachable is. My daughter drove into town today, and the roads were a little bit snowy. I told you I was going to run these episodes back to back, so you might have heard this already. And I coached her the whole way in, and I was positive about it. Every time she did something, she did, like I told her, oh, you're doing great. Okay, well, you messed up here, but you're doing great now, so just keep going, right? Like, you got this, you're doing good. And at the end, she made me feel really warm and loved by the way she treated me and said thanks for making me drive into town on snowy roads and how scared she was. But here's the thing, if she wasn't coachable, if she was arrogant, I would have wanted to coach her. And I actually had a conversation with her about that. You know, it was like last weekend, we were coming home from Utah. We were in a dance competition. I was having her drive home from Utah, and I said, cool, I need you to drive. She's like, I don't want to drive. And I said, you're 15 and a half years old, you need to drive. You got your permit, get behind the wheel. You need to drive on a freeway. This is a great time. It's Sunday morning, ain't nobody going to be there. It's going to be like less than 100 cars you're going to see on this freeway. It's going to be amazing. And she's like, oh, you just tell us. You're just pouting and being a little brat. And so we got in the car, and I was telling her how to get out of the parking garage because she'd never been in a parking garage before, and I pulled out of it like 5 times during the weekend we were there, but she'd never once been like, I want to drive. And so I just drove, and I made her drive home, and she wasn't really coachable, right? She had the sour puss attitude, bad look on her face, kind of like if she could stomp her feet and stick her bottom lip out and pout, she would have. But she couldn't, because she was sitting behind the driver's seat behind the wheel. So she couldn't stomp her feet, but she didn't want to be there. And she was like, I was giving her guidance and coaching her and being nice. We pulled out of the parking garage after it took us like 10 minutes to get out of the parking garage because she just didn't want to be in that seat. And I told her, I said, pull over at the side of the road. She had to unbuckle her seatbelt in order to get the parking gate lifted. So she scanned it, and she went to pull forward to get out. She pulled forward out of it, and then she had to put her seatbelt on. She kind of freaked out, and I said, just pull over to the side of the road, put your seatbelt on. Don't freak out. You've been driving for 6 to 8 months. 6 to 8 months. Like, pull over. You've been driving long enough to be decent at this by now. So pull over and get your seatbelt on. So she pulls over and gets her seatbelt on. She's kind of pouting, and she just jerks it over there and goes to put it on. And I looked at her and I said, don't move, put the car in park. She put the car in park. And I laid into her for a minute. I did. And I told her I wasn't going to tolerate it and I wasn't going to put up with it. And the way she was treating me wasn't okay. And I said, when you're ready, we can get on the road. But I ain't driving. Mom ain't driving, you're driving. When we're ready, we can get on the road. So you get yourself together. Get your crap in gear. I didn't quite say that. I said something else. I said, get your head out of your rear end and let's go. Because we want to get home. And we'll get home at like 4 o'clock right now, the way we're going. So I'm ready to be home. It's like 5.5 hour drive. It's not bad. So she got herself together. She got behind the wheel. She was still a little bit upset. Like, not really like mad, but like she was driving good. And then about an hour in, she looks at me and she goes, I'm sorry. I treated you wrong. I wasn't coachable. That was her exact words. I wasn't coachable, Dad. I'm sorry. Thanks for not giving up on me. We all have people in our lives that aren't coachable, and sometimes we have to have a come to Jesus moment with them. Sometimes we have to say, hey, pull your head out of your freaking butt, take a deep breath, and let's move on. There's been times in my life where I haven't been coachable. I actually had one job at one point where the general manager came to me and said, I've fired enough people, I don't want to fire you. Get your shit together, Dan. And I was like, I need to get my stuff together. So when you're not coachable, you can't learn. You can't learn, and you won't learn. You refuse to learn. But when you're coachable, you learn. So get out there, guys. Be coachable. Pick up a copy of my book, Grit, Grease, and Grace, Leadership Forged in the Trenches. And we'll see you guys on the other side. Later.